Hey everyone, welcome back. So you want to break down that wild card game, huh? Steelers Ravens. That one was a nail biter.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Well, we dove deep into the highlights and all the post-game expert analysis to bring you the most interesting stuff.
It's good stuff.
Ready to uncover what really went down in that game.
Let's do it.
All right, so first off, this wasn't your average playoff matchup.
Oh, no, not at all.
This was like the third time these two teams, both from the AFC North, meaning they're rivals, they play each other a bunch during the regular season. This is their third matchup, and they had each won once before.
Right, exactly. Talk about intensity. I mean, these teams know each other inside and out. They've been battling all year for that top spot in the division, so you know coming into this wild card game, there's going to be some serious fireworks.
And fireworks, there were, but not the kind the Steelers were hoping for, right? The Ravens crushed them. 28-14 was the final score.
Yeah, it wasn't even that close, really. The Ravens were in control right from kickoff.
It was like they had a plan and executed it perfectly.
They did, and that's what's so interesting about this game. A lot of people might look at the box score and say, oh, the Ravens won because they ran the ball well. Well, yeah, but it's way more nuanced than that. They exploited a weakness in the Steelers' defense. Their linebacker core had been struggling, and the Ravens knew it.
So it was like a targeted attack.
Absolutely. If you look at the game film, you can see they were running a lot of outside zone plays designed to stretch the Steelers' defense thin and get their running backs to the edge where they could break off some big runs. And man, did it work.
Derrick Henry was unstoppable. He was like a one-man wrecking crew out there, racking up 186 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. It felt like every time he touched the ball, he was dragging like 3 Steelers defenders with him.
It's insane. And it wasn't just the yardage, it was the way he getting those yards. You have to look at the advanced stats. Henry was averaging almost 5 yards after contact.
Wow.
So think about that. He's carrying defenders for 5 extra yards. He was forcing missed tackles left and right. He just wore down that Steelers defense. And all the experts agree, his performance was a huge part of the Ravens' victory.
But this isn't just like a one-time thing for Derrick Henry, right? He's got a history of dominating in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In fact, he tied a couple of legendary records in this game. First, he tied Terrell Davis for the most playoff games with over 150 rushing yards. That's a record that stood for years.
Wow, that's pretty elite company to be in.
For sure. And he also tied Jim Brown's record for most games with over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's 13 games. It's just mind-blowing. This guy is a beast in the playoffs.
Yeah, playoff beast is a good way to put it. I was reading an article by Ben Arthur, a really good sports analyst, and he pointed out how when the Ravens signed Henry, everyone thought it was the missing piece to unlock Lamar Jackson's full potential in the playoffs.
Oh.
And this game kind of proved it.
You know, that's a really good point. Lamar Jackson gets a lot of attention for his speed, his ability to make those crazy plays outside the pocket, but having a back like Henry who can pound the rock down after down really opens things up for him. It keeps defenses honest because they can't just focus on Jackson.
It's like they have to pick their poison. Do you focus on stopping Jackson from running wild, or do you try to contain Henry?
Exactly. And if you can't do both, you're in trouble. That's the beauty of this Ravens offense. It's multifaceted. You take away one thing, and they'll just beat you with the other.
It must be a nightmare for an opposing defensive coordinator.
Oh, absolutely. Now, on the flip side, the Steelers had a rough night, especially that first half. I think Ben Arthur put it best when he said, and I quote, "Pittsburgh didn't show up to play in the first half." Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. They just couldn't get anything going early on, and they let the Ravens build a big lead. They tried to rally late in the game with some big passing plays, but, you know, digging yourself out of a hole like that against a team as good as the Ravens, well, that's a tall order.
So where does this leave the Steelers? There's a lot of question marks heading into the offseason. I mean, what's going on with their quarterback situation?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Will Russell Wilson be back after his struggles this season? What about Justin Fields? Do they think he's the future? This offseason is going to be huge for them. They have some big decisions to make if they want to get back to being a contender for a championship.
Absolutely. So we saw the Ravens march on, thanks to a truly dominant performance from Jackson and Henry, a dynamic duo if there ever was one, while the Steelers, well, they're heading into the offseason with a lot more questions than answers.
It's a really interesting time for the NFL, you know. You see this Ravens team, and they're having so much success with a run-first offense, and it makes you think about how the game is evolving. In an era where everyone's obsessed with passing, the Ravens are proving that a powerful run game can still be a recipe for success, especially in the playoffs.
It's a fascinating debate, right? Run first versus pass-happy offenses.
Yeah.
And this game definitely adds fuel to that fire.
Yeah.
Is this Ravens victory a sign that old-school smash-mouth football is making a comeback? Something to think about.
It's going to be interesting to see how other teams respond.
For sure. Well, that's going to do it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Until next time.
See ya.
Bye.